Hey guys, Johnny Crips 2000 here, and welcome to my Let's Play of Captain America and the Avengers. This is part 2, and we are in Scene 3, still playing as Hawkeye. And as I was saying before, this is one of the very few Avengers games. We haven't really had that many Avengers games, and really the only 2D beat-em-up so far of the Avengers, if you don't count Marvel Ultimate Alliance. And so we get to see a lot of characters here that we didn't get to see for a very long time, all the way up until Marvel Ultimate Alliance, which was basically a Marvel fanboy's wet dream come true, myself included, because at that point we hadn't seen a lot of these characters in video game form. By the way, here we are about to fight the Wizard, who I mentioned before in the last part how the Grim Reaper appeared in Marvel Ultimate Alliance 2. The Wizard also appears in Marvel Ultimate Alliance 2, if I remember correctly. I'm trying to remember all the villains and bosses from that game, and sometimes I forget if they were in the first Marvel Ultimate Alliance or the second. But yeah, what ends up happening here with the Avengers is that as far as Marvel superhero games, you always have, you have your standard video games that you always get. So we always have Spider-Man rather. We have a lot of X-Men games. We have a lot of Hulk games. But we never really have Avengers game. In fact, it's very rare whenever we get a Captain America game, even up until recently. With the release of the new Marvel Cinematic Universe films, we're fortunate enough to get some of these games, even though they haven't been the best, but we still have gotten them. So for people like me who have been fans of characters like Thor, like Captain America, I'm still holding out for a No More game, which we will see soon enough. We saw him at the beginning there, but we're going to see him in a minute here again. He's going to be a helper character. There he is. And one thing about No More, a little fun fact here to throw your way, because I love my little fun fact. I like my little trivia. No More has only ever been playable in 2 games. Like, ever. He's only ever been playable in 2 games, and those games, the 2 games that he's been playable in are Spider-Man the Arcade game, which is a game that I'm going to be playing soon enough. I just have to record it, but I'm trying to get my friends to play alongside with me so we can get the gang together, because beat-em-ups are a lot funner, and I'm certainly, they're more action-packed when you get more people involved. But he was involved in that game. He was a playable character in that game, and he was a playable character in the Game Boy Advance version of Marvel Ultimate Alliance, which wasn't the best version of that game. And it was very strange because not many people played that version, because at that point everybody was just jumping on board to kind of it would be like if like the PlayStation 2 games that were coming out in 2007. That was kind of like how Marvel Ultimate Alliance for the Game Boy Advance was in 2006. People just weren't playing that system anymore, so it was highly overlooked, though it wasn't. It was kind of deserved, because that game was not that great. But unfortunately, that was also one of the only other game that No More has ever appeared in. So my point is that Avengers, unfortunately, for the most part, for the longest time, up until more recently, due to the popularity of Marvel going up because of the films and things like that. So a lot of characters you haven't really seen that much of in video game form. For example, Vision here is also one of those people that, for the longest time, this was the only game that he ever appeared in. He actually didn't appear in Marvel Ultimate Alliance or Marvel Ultimate Alliance 2. I believe he appeared as a boss character in the second one, if I remember correctly. I might be thinking of somebody else. But yeah, we don't see these characters that often. In the grand scheme of things, in the grand scheme of the video game history, Avengers haven't had that many appearances. And as you guys can see, this was the Mandarin, Iron Man's probably most popular villain, and we kind of just, kicked his ass. Even though, like I said, I am playing with more. I wouldn't say I'm cheating, but I am making use of an emulator, so I would have died there if I hadn't put in more credits, though I did so that you guys can see more of the Vision, because again, this is a very rare appearance by him in video game form. So now we are going out into outer space to the giant laser cannon. I don't know how, and The funny thing about this is that with the Vision, it kind of makes sense that he's able to go in outer space, so he has no problem. He's an android after all. The same thing can be said with Iron Man. You know, his suit kind of protects him. But whenever you're in outer space with both Captain America and Hawkeye, they have this little thing where they basically just put on a mask and a gas tank and an oxygen tank, and that's pretty much it. Which, when you think about it, doesn't really make that much sense because they're still unprotected. You know, their skin is still unprotected, but I guess that's enough. And, you know, I guess you could just say it's just a video game and just get on with it, which I like to do. But as you guys can see here, the Vision here is, I like to use the Vision in more of a ranged capacity. For example, what I mean by that is that obviously all of the heroes here, anybody that you can choose with, I don't think, at least I haven't really experimented with if one of them is stronger than the other when it comes to combat, when it comes to melee attacks and things like that. I don't know if one of them in particular has a stronger ranged attack, but what I do know is that Vision's laser, the little laser that he uses that comes out of his forehead, it seems to me that it comes out a little bit faster than it does some of the other characters, especially when you compare him to Hawkeye and Captain America. Especially with Captain America because he has to throw his shield and he has to wait for it to come back. With the Vision here, I like to play him more on more of a ranged character. That's why you see me use the laser so many times. But anyway, here we have an appearance by the Juggernaut, who I don't know if this game, obviously he looks different. We can't see his face and his helmet looks a little different, but it does say Juggernaut down there at the bottom. So I am not sure if this is supposed to be some sort of an android, a robot version of the Juggernaut, but I guess you can still say that the Juggernaut does make an appearance in this game, even though I'm pretty sure it's not the regular version of the Juggernaut. The Juggernaut is just one of those characters that, even though it's not even an X-Men game, he just kind of appears. He's been a very popular character in the world of Marvel video games, so I think he appears a lot in the X-Men video games, and I think, if I remember correctly, he actually also appeared in Spider-Man, not Web of Shadows, Spider-Man, God, what's the name of, the Dimensions one, the one where you could play 4 different Spider-Man games. I think he was in that one, and you actually fought him in a first-person mode, which is pretty cool. I actually like that game, even though I can't remember the name of. But anyway, here we go. We got Iron Man, and Iron Man is making another appearance here on my channel, because before I played the Invincible Iron Man for the Game Boy Advance, so we have seen him in action. Iron Man, as far as the Avengers are concerned, is as far as their video game appearances, has been slightly more successful, I guess, if you want to call it that, in that he has gotten a number of video games where he's appeared in. This one being one of them. He's also appeared in, obviously, the Invincible Iron Man for the Game Boy Advance, and he also appeared in Iron Man and Exo Manowar for the PlayStation, which admittedly wasn't that great. But there you go, he at least got a PlayStation game. And obviously the Iron Man and Iron Man 2, which were based off of the movie. He also appeared in the iOS game for handhelds, or for smartphones, which I actually have. It's basically just a version of Temple Run, except he's just flying and you can shoot stuff, which is pretty fun, I guess. And he actually also appeared, he made a cameo appearance in Tony Hawk's Underground, which I did a playthrough of. I did an entire Let's Play. And you can actually unlock Iron Man if you complete the game. But anyway, here we are fighting Ultron, the star of next year's Avengers Age of Ultron, who is completely awesome. But in this game, he's sort of been relegated to just a boss of this scene, of this chapter, of this level. And admittedly, he is rather tough. He does a lot of lasers, as you guys can see. And he does this one thing, as you guys can see there, where he shoots lasers from the sky. But he's not really that hard. Again, this may just be the case that I just, I'm using extra credits and things like that. But if you were playing with another player, another friend, another player, and certainly if it was 4-player mode, he shouldn't be that tough. One thing I haven't noticed or haven't tested, which I probably should have before I did this Let's Play, is if the 4-player version of the arcade version is harder than the 2-player version, which tends to be the case with some of these beat-em-up games. But anyway, guys, that's it for part 2 of my Let's Play of Captain America and the Avengers. I'll let you see and read these little cutscenes here, but I will see you in part 3.
As always, if you like this video, be sure to hit that like button and subscribe to my channel if you want to get more stuff from me. In the meantime, if you like my videos, be sure to find me on Twitter, Tumblr, Raptr, and Screwattack.com to see the other gaming related content that I upload. Info is in the description. Who knows? Maybe you'll like my stuff. Maybe. Maybe.